The Bills were a team that we thought were on their way to something special, on their way to maybe the number 1 seed. What they ended up being was on their way to a loss. When Josh Allen meets Josh Allen, only one Josh Allen can win, barring a tie. Here's the Josh Allen who lost, Mike, after an embarrassing 6-point output for the Buffalo offense on Sunday in Jacksonville.
Credit to them. They came out, they wanted it more. We had a lot of little things add up to big things. I put the ball in danger too often, bit us in the butt, played like.
He said the word, and it was bleeped during Football Night in America and now. So the folks at Sky don't have to worry about bleeping anything. Mike, this is a point Chris Sims made yesterday, and I think he's right on the money. Too much is being put on Josh Allen. Josh Allen's trying to do too much, and he's starting to revert to the guy that we saw early in his career when he's taking too many chances. There's a little of that Carson Wentz, a little of that Matthew Stafford last night, just a little of that I'm trying to do too much. I'm trying to change the game in our favor in one flash, in one moment, with one play, and that tends to set up a disaster, not result in some heroic moment.
I was stunned in this one. This is a 9-6 game. This is a game when you look at the box score and the team stats, there were no touchdowns, and if you're talking about Jacksonville, you could say, yeah, I could see it, but not with the Buffalo Bills. But someone tell me why in a 9-6 game you run the ball 14 times and you pass it 47. Why? To your point of putting too much on Josh Allen, why? Why is there that much of a disparity in a game where there hasn't been a touchdown, in a game where you don't get taken out of your game plan like it's 28-0, and all of a sudden you have to throw the game plan out and start hoisting the 47 passes? That's like you're down 3 scores, 3 touchdowns, 3 or 4 touchdowns, and you're trying to get yourself back into the game. I don't understand that at all. Now, again, let's give Jacksonville credit. The defense played one of their best games, and you heard them after, this is how we should be playing, and saying all the things they should be playing for a young, growing team with a brand-new quarterback. I get it. But, I mean, come on. We know what the Bills are, and we know what Jacksonville is right now. So that, to me, now 3 second-half turnovers don't help you at all. Again, 12 penalties. This is I'm with you on this, maybe from coaching staff to player to even though you're trying to sell yourself that, hey, any team on any given Sunday, that you go in there a little bit like, oh, yeah, it's Jacksonville. We should be able to roll through this one. The next thing you know, you're getting hit in the nose and your eyes are watering, your nose bleeds, and you go, what the hell is going on? And you're in a battle. But you still should be able to kind of catch yourself and get to do what you should do. So, again, I don't get it with the pass-run ratio there at all. But too many mistakes, too many turnovers, and you end up after the game in the locker room going, what the hell just happened and how did it happen?
Yeah, it's almost like the Bills' attitude was, what we want to do isn't working, let's go do it harder. And it just didn't work. Yeah. At some point, you got to switch it up. And for the Jaguars, I can't figure this team out because after they beat the Dolphins in London, they had a bye week. They had 2 weeks to get ready for the trip to Seattle. The Seahawks were coming off of a short week game without Russell Wilson. I thought the Jaguars were going to win last week. It's 24-0 at the 2-minute warning. What the hell happened to the Jaguars? And that makes what happened yesterday even more confounding, Mike, that they were able to fly back across the country. One of the best teams in football coming into their building. I didn't see any crowd shots yesterday. I have a feeling it was not standing room only in Jacksonville. And to do what they did, and I spoke to the other Josh Allen, the victorious Josh Allen, after the game, and he's and I know that you can get intoxicated by the sweet fumes of victory, but man, he was talking like they can go on a run here, and they remind me of the first time I brought home straight A's, and I was proud, and then it's like, why haven't you done this before? And now you've got to do it all the time. It's like, oh. Crap. That's what the Jaguars did yesterday. They finally brought home straight A's. What the hell went on the rest of the season preceding yesterday, Mike?
So what happens, Mike, with a team like this is you kind of know where you sit. If you get behind big in a game with a rookie quarterback and a young team, a young building team, you sit on the sidelines and it's like the old air in the sails. You can see kind of the air go out of the sails saying, we're not going to, we don't have the ability to come back. We can try, we're going to pass, we're going to try, but we don't feel we're good enough to come back. But if we're in a game like this, when you're in a game and some of the things are going right, your confidence builds, just like coming home with straight A's. You feel good for a while, until you get that 58 on the first test after your straight A's and you come back to reality a little bit. So it's called consistency with your play and with your preparation. And then from the mental side of it, this is where football is such a physical sport, but the mental side of it as well, of where you are as a team, how quickly the air goes out of the balloon if you're down 10, down 14, going, oh no, here we go again. We don't have the ability to come back yet. But when it's 6-6 or 10-7 or 14-10 and you're in it, and you're getting some plays. They had 4 sacks yesterday. When you're hitting the quarterback, when you're making some plays, that confidence builds and you're in the game, that then everybody kind of builds together. You're standing on each other's shoulders for the rest of the game. So what you need is obviously to win. If this isn't rocket science, you need consistent good to great play. And Jacksonville does have good to occasional great play, but mostly it's below average. They just don't have that consistency yet, but that's why you take one of those yesterday and you try and build off of it as best you can.
Yeah, I think that's right. The challenge is find the things that worked well, find the things that allowed you to get to where you were and try to replicate that and be flexible and learn from your mistakes and just keep pushing and pushing. They go to the Colts this weekend. They have the 49ers coming to town, then the Falcons. They've got some games that they can at least make interesting, and they could be a spoiler down the stretch. And I think this season's about laying the foundation to try to become a contender next year. I just think at 2-6, I don't know how many losses is too many with 17 games. 6 probably isn't, but they'd have to run the table and finish 11-6. Maybe they could get away with 10-7. Who knows? But they're gonna have to really stretch to get in the mix now. But hey, 2-6 quickly becomes 3-6, 4-6. We've seen teams do that. There's always that team, Mike, and I'm not saying it's going to be the Jaguars, but we need to be conscious of this. There's always a team that's hovering around 500 at Thanksgiving that all of a sudden figures it out. And they win and they win and they win and they win. And they carry it into the postseason. And that mindset that every game that we played down the stretch was like a playoff game makes them very dangerous in the playoffs. So it's time to start scanning the standings for that team that's going to be right around 500 that maybe gets red hot in December. Not that it's going to be the Jaguars.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. But you're right, kind of that third quarter of the season where you're kind of positioning yourself to when you get into the last quarter of the season, are you in it? If you make a little bit more of a run, can you be in the mix, or are you going to stay on the outside looking in? That's a lot of what this month and going into early December is going to be for teams just like that, hovering at 500, one game above it or one game below it. And again, depending on your division, are you actually fighting for the division like we see in a couple of these where there's only one loss separating bottom to top, or do you have to fight for a wild card spot? That has a lot to do with it as well. But I agree with you, and that's why this month is such an important month.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.